Kadosh Boker Or Masechet Nazir Daf 24a1 says the Mishnah, Hayisha Shenadra Benazir. Imagine a woman comes and she was Nadra Benazir, Bifrisha Be'emtah. So she comes, she says she's going to become a Nazirah, then she separates her animal, and then the husband comes and does a Farad Nadarim. Im Shelo Haita Bema, if the animal belonged to the husband, right? You come and you have to take the animal, and it's like every other animal. It's all chuli. So therefore, they could come and they could leave them with the eder, right? But if the behema belonged to her and not to him, meaning, for example, let's say she got a present or whatever it is, right? Yeah. Okay. So im shela ita behema chatat tamut. If it's going to be a chatat, it's going to have to die. Why? Because then it's like a chatat shemetu be'alea. You remember a chatat that the owners died. You have to let the animal graze until it dies. You have to basically you're not allowed to you're not allowed to do anything with it. But you could bring the ola, and the shlamim could also be brought as a shlamim. Okay, why? Because these things they come in as a nidava. Nidava is a present. You cannot bring a chatat as a present because a chatat is a sin offering. So it's not good to bring a sin offering as a present. Kav Daled Amud Aleph. 24a. Yeah? We're in the Mishnah. So he says
the case is she made the vow and
she made the vow, and then
said,
he
okay,
did, and she separated, this is this is my chatat, ola, and there, and all of a sudden, husband comes and he does a farat nedarim. So in such a case, now she's not a nezirah, so she doesn't have to be the animals, but it all depends who the animals belong to. If the animals belong to him, so you're right, everything is chuli. Everything is chuli. There's nothing that happened. But if the animals belong to her, so then the chatat has to die, because the chatat is considered chatat shemetu be'alea. It's like that the owners died. Here she didn't die, she's chaya v'kayama, but it means that since she doesn't need to bring this animal, because at the end of the day she didn't become a nazirah, so therefore it's like that she died. That's the first one. Chatat tamud. Va'ola tikarev va'ola, and the shlamim could be brought. Each one is ola, shlamim is shlamim. Why? Because it could be brought as an nedava. They're going to be eaten in one day, okay, and not like a regular shlamim. The shlamim is shnei yamim ve'layla echad, right? Like a hotel, 2 days and 1 night, right? That is a shlamim. But here, since it was like a echlef, it was like a substitute for a shalmei nazir, so therefore you could only eat it in 1 day. Ve'enan tunin lechem, does not need bread. What does that mean? The shalmei nazir, they usually bring chalot and nekikim with it. They bring like types of bread, like crackers with it. Here you do not need that, because once it's not a shalmei nazir, so therefore, right, they actually come and they actually change. Fine. Now it says like this: Hayula ma'ot stumin. What happens if she had money, which was stumin? What does that mean? There's going to be 2 types of money: ma'ot mefurashim, which means that she consecrated the money, right, for a certain thing, or there's going to be ma'ot stumin. What is ma'ot stumin? She consecrated the money stam for all the korbanot together, right? That she said, she didn't say this is for a chatat, this is for the sham, this is for shamim. She just said this is money for my korbanot. That's ma'ot stumin. Hayula ma'ot stumin yiplul nedava. Everything should go to a nedava. Ma'ot mefurashin. But if she had ma'ot mefurashin, which means this certain amount of money was going to go for a chatat, this certain amount of money was going to go for the sham, and this certain amount for the olah, the mei chatat yelchu liyam hamelach. You have to throw the money of the mei chatat in the yam hamelach. Why? Because you have to get rid of it. So you throw it into the yam hamelach, right, in order to come and to get rid of it. But there's no benefiting from it because it's subana, and there's no me'ilah on it, which means if you accidentally used it, right, there's no din of me'ilah as well, right, because you can't bring it as a korban. The me'olah, but the money of an olah, you bring it as an olah, and there is the problem of me'ilah, which means if you benefited from it, it's going to be a problem. The shlamim, the money of the shlamim, you're going to bring it as a shlamim. Yom echad, right, and they're going to be eaten as 1 yom. The tunin lechem, and it's not going to be eaten as a bread. Okay, that means you don't eat the breads. You don't need the breads for the shlamim. Okay, that was a Mishnah. Says the Gemara, Man tana de Baal lo mishtabela. Who's the Tana that he holds that the Baal is not meshubad lishto to bring the korbanot that she's obligated to bring? Meaning like this: a woman comes, forget about this case in Nazirah. A woman comes and she does an avirah. Yeah, she accidentally went and she washed your clothing on Shabbat, right? You got a stain over there, right? No. You have a stain over there.
You tell me that at 8 a.m. It's not.
She comes and she washes it off with water. And mechalel Shabbat. Wow, mechalel Shabbat. I didn't do it. Well, you wash your clothing. What? Wash your clothing. I put water and I started. You wash clothing on Shabbat. No, not muktzeh. Mamash, right? Melaben. You were mamash. You wash clothing on Shabbat. One of the 39 melachot. Melaben. Yeah. So you came and you muktzeh is the rabbanan. You don't bring the korban muktzeh. Right?
Are you allowed to do that?
No. You're not allowed to add water. No water. Okay, so now what happens is that she has to bring a chatat. How do we know what? The husband does not have to bring the korban chatat? Saying, meaning the wife, it's not like she's a millionaire, she's got money overall. Right? Anything that she does goes to the husband. So if everything is coming from the husband, what? She's not. So similarly here. Here, she's going to come and she's going to become a nazira. So who's going to bring your korbanot? It's not going to be. What's it called? It's not going to be the husband. So if it's going to be the husband, so what's the difference then between, right? What's the difference then between whether the animal belongs to him or belongs to her? Should be the exact same halacha.
The difference whether it's for an avera or whether it's she.
So says the Gemara, says Rav Chasta, it's Rabbanani, it's the rabbis. The Yisar Gadaita, whatever you're going to tell me Rabbi Yehuda here, it's Rabbi Yehuda. Amai tetzeh v'tireh ba'eder. So why does it say that it goes out and it just goes into the flocks? Hamishtabila. It's mishubadla to bring for a korban. So therefore, why do we say that there's no kedusha, right, on the animal? The tiny was learned in the Rabbi Yehuda says, "Adam mevi korban ashira lishto." A person will come, and if the woman was obligated at korban and she's an aniyah, since the husband is an ashir, he's obligated to bring a korban ashir because it's kidu that he himself is the one that's obligated. Meaning it could be that she doesn't have a penny to her name, right? In the olden days, it could happen also. She doesn't have a penny to her name.
She's an
right?
Aliyah and he's an Ashir.
Yeah, because basically for her, she has nothing. Sometimes you have a woman that she's rich because she inherited money. And let's say that inherited money has nothing to do with him, right? And therefore, there's certain things. But, and by the way, you should, and nowadays it doesn't happen. How many times does it happen nowadays? You have people, right, that really bad match. She's got money or he's got money and it's separate. Right? Especially in secular law. You have that all the time. She could be a multimillionaire and he's an animarut, right? 100% all the time. The only thing is, if they get divorced, so then many times it goes 50-50, but if they do a prenup, it's not that simple. Meaning that there doesn't exist.
As long as they're married, you rarely differentiate. He's rich and she's a poor.
Okay.
If they're married, if they're still married.
Fine. That's not, remember like this, it's not 100% correct. Even nowadays, there's something which is called joint filing for IRS or separate filing. That means even the IRS, there exists that you could file jointly as a marriage, as a couple, or separately. There's different rules, different halachot, and she could be making the millions, he could be making nothing, the exact opposite.
It's from a tax perspective.
But it's not only for tax, it's even value.
But in the
value, per net value. I'm going to ask you a question.
Would you see me driving a Bentley?
So, Adam mevi korban ishi l'ishto. A person has to bring a korban ishi l'ishto. V'chen korban l'otei ishi chayevet. Shekatav la, but he wrote down in the nusach ha'ketubah, kol achrayut de'itlich alai min kadmat dena. Any achrayut of any type of a chov is going to be on to me. So therefore, he's obligated to give her like her chovot. So therefore, if she has to bring a korban, even though she's an aniyah, it doesn't matter. She has to bring a real korban. Rava comes and he says, "Afilu tema Rabbi Yehuda." Even if we're going to tell me it's Rabbi Yehuda, ki meshabela. When is there going to be a shi'abud? Beminta de tzrichala. Only in something that she really needs. Beminta de lo tzrichala lo. Only in something that she doesn't need. It's not. So therefore, here at the end of the day, right? It was not mishtabela in something that she doesn't need. So now here, since he did the afarat nadarim, she doesn't need it. One more time. What happened? She went and she made herself into Nazira. And then she's going to separate her korbanot. He comes and he does afarat nadarim. The second that he does afarat nadarim, she doesn't have to bring the korbanot. If she doesn't have to bring the korbanot, none of the animals are subjugated to her because at the end of the day, he's not obligated in anything. Ikadam. There are those that say there was another girsa. Mantana huzatana. It's a Yudah. When is it going to be mishabet or something that she needs? But something that's not that she does not need. It's not going to be mishubad either. But it's not going to be mishubad at all. But rather, if it's going to be mishubad to her, for For example, he was makne lo mirtzono, the animals. The kevan, the aknela, have a dinafsha. Once he's makne it to her, so then it's 100% hers. It means even if he did do the afarat nedarim afterwards, why is it going to be nifka? It should still be 100% subjugated towards her. So obviously it's not going to be Rabbanan, it's going to be Shitat Rabbi Yehuda, Kavdalad Amubet, 24b. Rava comes and he says, Afilu Tema Rabbanan, even if you're going to tell me now, he says over here, Afilu Tema Rabbanan, even if you're going to tell me the Rabbanan, Kimakni Nalnami, also when he's going to be Maknela, is Beminta de Tzrichala, in something that you need. But something you don't need. It's over here, the same thing. At the end of the day, there's no Kedusha Chal because she didn't need it at the end. Okay, we're on the two dots. We just said that if the animal belonged to her, Khatat is going to die, and the Ola is going to be brought. So it's really the woman. How do we know, right, that the woman has her own property? How does she have her own property? At the end of the day, whatever she owns belongs to the husband. Whatever the woman acquires belongs to the husband. Amar Rav Papa says, Shekimtsata nisata. What does that mean? She was saving up. Meaning he used to come and he used to give her, let's say, for example, $100 allowance, by food, by this, in order to, and instead of going and doing her nails every single other day, so she did it once in every year. And then what happened was, right, she comes and she saved up money. So that money that she saved up, that's how she's able to come and she's able to use it. Yeah? There's a famous thing about, when they used to go to Publix, and then cashback. So every single time they used to come to Publix, they used to come and then, I want $10 cashback. So every time they went to the store, it was always like $10. After a month, right, she comes, she's got a lot of money. Every single time she's taking out. Yeah. But anyway,
her money?
Which one?
One that
No. This one is the husband giving her money for allowance.
Okay.
And she basically went and she started becoming stingy on her own self. And therefore that extra money that she's saving belongs to her.
So it has nothing to do with the inheritance. Or
Nothing to do with inheritance. We didn't get there yet. We didn't get there yet. Okay? Next, another answer. The aknila acher. Somebody else gave it to her. So this is what you're talking about, inheritance, all these things. And he told her, it's not just enough inheritance. It has to be something that basically that he acquires, that the woman is going to acquire, and the person that's giving it to the woman says, on condition that your husband has nothing to do with it. So sometimes it happens. Sometimes you have a rich father-in-law, and they wrote a prenup before the marriage. And what the father-in-law does comes and he says, okay, fine, he's going to buy a house, right, for the couple, but he says it's on her name, or it's on the grandchildren's name. It's not on his name. There's many times that happens. So what happens? Why? He doesn't want. Because he knows, he's very smart. Afterwards, they come, they get divorced, he takes half. Why should he take half of the money for nothing? Just stop. And sometimes they get married for show. So, they get married, everything's lovebirds. 30 days later, boom. Boom, he wants half the property. What happened? The entire thing was fake. The entire thing. Fine. Next, 2 dots. If you remember, we just said that the Ola is going to be brought in Ola. Shlamim and Shlamim. Says Shmuel to Abu Barivi, right? Don't sit down, right? Don't sit until you're going to explain to me, right, this thing. So he says, there's going to be 4 different types of rams that do not need bread. What does that mean? His, hers, after death or after kapara? So now we have to explain, what does that mean? So says the Gemara, Shelah is our case. What does it mean when it says Shelah? Shelah is our case. A woman that she made herself into a Nazira. And then afterwards the husband does a Farat Nedarim. Her Shlamim does not need bread. That's what we just mentioned now. Shelo, what's his? We learned in the Mishnah. Hayish Madir beno ben Nazir. A person could make his child into a Nazir. We're talking about beno katan, which means that if the father makes his son into a Nazir, some people say it's because of chinuch. Other people say it's halacha Moshe Sinai, and therefore he could make his son into a Nazir. Ve'en isha maderet ebena benazir, but a woman cannot make her son into a Nazir. Kilach, if he came and he cut the hair off, right? And now he says, or shegilchu krovim, or family members did it. Micha, right? Or he comes and he says he doesn't want it, right? Or michu krovim, or other family members said that they don't want it. Hayulu ma'od stumin, if they had money which is stumin, yiplun nedava, goes to a nedava. But ma'od mefurashin, if you had money which is specifically for the the different korbanot, they make chatat yilchu liyam hamelach. So you have to throw the money of the chatat to the Yam HaMelech, again to the sea. The me'olah yavi olah, the money of the olah, you're going to bring it as an olah. Umualim b'hem, shlamim v'shlamim v'nechalim v'chad ve'enan teunin lechem. So in this case, it does not need the breads. Gimel. What?
I'm sorry.
Number 3, shlachar mita. What does it mean lachar mita after death? Menadan, how do we know? The tzram is we learned to the Mishnah Me'ilah. Hamafrish ma'ot nezirato. If somebody separates money for his nezirut, lo ne'anim, you're not allowed to benefit from it. V'lo ma'alim b'hem, there's no yisur of Me'ilah. Because you technically you could bring all of them as a shamim. Met, but if he died, ve'ayulo ma'ot stumim, and he has money which is satum, tiplun nedva, goes to the nedva. Mfurashin, if he had money which is mfurashin, mechatat yodech melech. Again, the mechatat goes to the melech. V'lo ne'anim v'lo mo'alin, there's no benefiting from it, but there's no milah. The me'olah, the money of the olah, yavi olah, they bring the olah, and there's milah. The shlamim, the shlamim, you're going to bring as a shamim, and you could eat in one day, but it does not need breads. Ve'enan teunin lechem. Number 4, shlachar kapara. What is the case of lachar kapara? Svarahu. It's a svara. Lachar mita. If right now to do with achar mita, ma'itam delo chazal kapara. Since he's not fitting for kapara, but it's after death, so therefore lachar kapara nami. So same thing happens after kapara. If he already had a kapara and therefore he does not need a kapara because he already had a kapara, so therefore you have the exact same case.
My previous korban.
Yeah. For example, let's say I brought the korban for you. You became a nazir. I brought the korban for you. And you already separated the money for korban. So for that's called lachar kapara, meaning you already had the kapara because of me. So for now, that money, so it all depends. If it was ma'od mefurashin, yiplun nedava. If it's ma'od sutumin, if it's ma'od mefurashin, the mechatat, the Yam HaMelech, the right milah or not, all those things, right? And then the me'olah, shlamim, but it's yom echad, and there's no lechem.
In the third case, he died, and then someone.
Now it says again, there's only going to be 4 cases that you don't need bread. What about if you have a shechita done not nishma? Meaning you have a shalmin nazir, right? Again, shlamim of a nazir, but they did the shechita, but not like the mitzvah. Ksherim, it's going to be kosher, but it's not used for the baalim. Meaning the owners have to bring another shlamim. It's going to be eaten yom echad, but you don't need lo lechem, lo zroa. So there's not going to be the breads, and it's not going to be zroa b'shelah. So if it's not like a regular shalmin nazir, science says the Gemara, no, we're only talking about if it was done k'mitzvatan, meaning like the regular mitzvah, but not if it wasn't talking about done like the mitzvah here, it wasn't done properly. So we're not talking about such a case. We're only talking about that everything was done properly, but you don't need to bring the bread. That's going to be 4 cases. Other than that, you're not going to have it. We're going to start tomorrow with Hashem from the 2 dots.